Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are, no matter what time of day it is. I want to thank you for choosing today's free training as part of your continuing education lineup. Today's free training is provided through the Missouri Professional Training Partnership. You can learn all about the partnership at moapco.org/training. And you can see everything that we've got for continuing education recorded training at our training catalog, mopartnership.glide.page. Speaking of our training catalog, that's where you'll need to sign in to today's session. So when you get to the page up on the top right, you will see an option to sign in or sign up. If you've not already created an account, please do so using the sign up field. You will be prompted to answer several questions, and that is what you'll use to actually that's what we use to pull information on your certificates. If you want to know about the profile creation, you can watch this May 2024 update that is on the main screen. If not, go ahead and click on sign in, put your email address in that you've already created a profile with, and it should sign you up. Okay, so now that we're signed in, you will go to sessions, find your session that you are looking for, that you want to sign into, and then after you watch the video, you will click this affidavit of training. Make sure that all the information over on the right side is correct. Click I attest, and then click submit. And then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of each week, you should receive a copy of your certificate. Thank you for choosing the Missouri Professional Training Partnership.
So as Zach said, I've got to switch. So we switched the first two classes. I have to head back to work. I had somebody call in sick, so I can't stay, unfortunately. But my name is Cheryl Konarski. For those that don't know me, I'm the communications manager for the Joplin Police Department Emergency Communications Center. I'm also the executive council of Bedford, Missouri. So I'm really glad to be here today. I always appreciate when Zach gives us these opportunities to come out and present. I don't get too many anymore, and this really helps to keep my certifications up. So today we're going to talk about why we've always done it that way doesn't work anymore. How many of you have been doing this for less than 5 years? How many for 5 to 10? 10 to 15? 15 to 20? 25 to 30? Don't hold your head down. Put that arm up proudly. All right, anybody over 35? All right, well, give or take, you're really close. So we have a lot of generations of dispatch in here and a lot of different levels. Is there any managers, directors in here? Okay, supervisors, frontline. Okay, so we have a little bit of everybody. So this presentation I tried to tailor to all the different levels because it's everybody in the center should have some kind of, words are really hard this morning, some kind of input on what your center's doing. There's a lot of really great technology out there. There's a lot of changes that we need to make in our centers. And sometimes we get really complacent and we forget to be open to those changes. So I want to talk a little bit about that from all the different levels in the center. Talk about the changes that we need to see and how we can go about doing that. We do have some people that are resistant to it. It's really hard when you've been doing something the same way for so long and you're really, really comfortable in that. And then your boss says, oh, by the way, there's a new CAD coming in a month, and we're going to change our phone system, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And you're like, oh shit, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I want to just do what I do because I know how to do this. I know how to use this CAD. I know the little tricks that go into it, and I know how to maneuver through it. You're going to tell me I have to learn a whole brand new thing at this stage of my career. Whether you're brand new and you literally just learned the old CAD, like now I have to learn a whole new thing. So we want to really make sure that we're open to all those things. So the objectives are to talk about why we've always done it that way. And then we're going to talk about why that doesn't work and why we need to have an open mindset. And then where does the change start? We're going to talk about some of the different areas where we look at change and what we're wanting to be open to. And then what are the benefits of that change? How can that be a good thing for us? And then the last one is moving forward in your agency with that change. Okay, so I really like this quote from Forbes magazine. It says, when's the last time you heard someone say, we've always done it that way? It was probably with good intention because it's generally synonymous with, if it ain't broke, it don't fix it. In the hectic day-to-day business world, relying on a tried and true approach is often a harmless, natural course of action. And in some things that is. In some things that are working really, really well, we don't really want to make a change because it's, we don't see a reason to. We don't see that there's something we need to really make a change on because it has always worked that way. But there is still a lot of things, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe that we see coming into our centers, and we need to be open to that. So, and I was going to try to reach out to Zim to get a picture of her button that she used to wear. I think she may still wear it sometimes. She had we've always done it that way on a button with a circle and a cross through it because she hated that term. We can't be complacent. We've always done it that way. We have to be open to that change.
I'm sure she'll send you a picture of it.
Yeah, I need to get with her and get that because I meant to do that because she wore that all the time to remind us that we have to be open to new things. So some of the things that we're going to talk about is staffing and some of the challenges that we have with staffing and with getting people in our center. And then we're going to talk about the roles that are in the center and being open to maybe creating new roles in your center or diversifying what people do in there. And then the types of employees that you've got coming into your center. For those of you that are part of the hiring process, who are you seeing applying in your center? What are they bringing to the table, and what are they've got going on? And then of course technology. We can't talk about change without talking about technology and how that's impacting our centers. And then the environmental aspect, which Zach alluded to with how hot it was when he came in this morning. Is there anybody that has a center that everybody's comfortable with the temperature no matter what's in there? Yes. My feet are freezing. I can't, I'm burning up, and that's literally next to each other in the same comm center. So how do you make those changes or recognize those needs for your staff and for your team? Okay, so technology. How many of you are in the process right now of implementing some new technology in your center? All right, how's it been so far? I'm sorry, Lori. I had to open up that box.
Why'd you have to change it at work?
Yeah, and digital's in the back counting out. Okay, how many people are doing change and how many need change back there? We're going through a CAD right now. We had just done a phone system, and then we had to do a CAD. The CAD I will say, was not my idea. I was perfectly fine with the one we had, but it was at end of life, and we don't have support anymore for it. You can keep it, but when things start breaking, we're not going to be able to do anything about it. So what do? You wait till the very last minute when everything crashes, and then you start figuring out what you're going to do next. We can't do that, right? We have lives to save, and we have to be able to have the technology to do that. We've got accustomed to the most part of having a CAD system, having a radio, recorder, all the things that we do in the center. There's really not that many centers out there that don't have some kind of technology in there. So we've really become accustomed to that, and it's really, really hard to go back. I will tell you, when we had our ransomware attack in 2021, for over a month we were on paper cards, and it was horrible. We found out who had really good handwriting, who did not have really good handwriting, and we tried to put the calls in after we got our stuff back, but we literally could not even turn the computer on for a month. So that was crunch time, and that was a way new appreciation for the technology that we had. So knowing what's out there and what do we do? So what are some things that you guys have got changing in your centers right now?
Telephone system.
Okay, so telephone system, that's a huge one, right? Well, I know how to answer that 911 call. I know how to transfer that caller. I know how to pull that recording. Now I've got a new system. I've got to figure out how to do all of that. So we take phones for granted, but that's a really big deal when there's a phone change, especially if it's a phone system you're sharing with multiple other agencies. We're getting really good at doing that. We're getting really good at virtual consolidation with other centers. But if one of us has a problem, all of us are having a problem. So that's something we have to keep in mind. What else do you have going and changing?
Our new CAD rolls out Monday.
Okay, who are you going with? Okay, all right. How are you feeling about it?
It's different.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, I was in the back when I told me to build it. So
Okay.
I know a little more about it than most of them. But
Yeah.
they've been pretty good about it, because we were practicing.
Yeah, that's good. We'll talk in a second about that. So new CAD, new phone, yes.
We have new radio.
New radio, okay. How's that going?
It's not so different.
Yeah.
There's just some things that are different.
Okay, all right. So there may be some just small changes, and they may not even be changes you see right away, but they are changes that are happening in the process and the way that you do things. So if you're blessed like she is to be part of the build team that is on the backside helping with all that, you've got a lot better understanding. You've got a little bit more patience when things aren't going right. Frontline, like, why isn't it working? You know, why can't you just fix that and make it work and do what I needed to do? And, you know, you're trying to explain to them, well, this has to happen and we have to call this, and their people have to call our people and do lunch and then fix their stuff. And, it's at 2 o'clock in the morning when something bad happens, and who do I call? And all those kinds of things. So technology is a really big part of that, and we do have to be open to that. So that being able to use it, the infrastructure support is really key. So when you're making those changes, having that really good relationship with your vendor, with the person that's doing the installation, with the person that's coming out and training your people on how to do that, that's really important too. Because if you want to have a successful change and you want to have your people on board, they have to feel supported. They have to feel that someone cares about what's going on and what they're doing. And that's a really big part of that too, especially for those of us that are supervisors, managers. If we're frustrated with it, how is everybody else going to feel about it? Yeah, they're like, well, she hates it, so of course I'm going to hate it, because if the boss hates it, then that can't possibly be a good thing. So we have to be the rah-rah cheerleaders, no matter how frustrated we may be. Like, I understand it's really frustrating, but please know that we're working on it, we're doing this, but I need you guys to tell me what the problem is. I got a laundry list last week of issues that our team was having, and none of them had ever been mentioned to me before, till the letter went to our chief. I'm like, why did you guys tell me this stuff wasn't working before the chief finds out that we've got all these issues? And not like I haven't asked you guys what's going on. They just didn't think they were that big a deal. They were the only one that had that problem, so they thought, well, it's probably just me. Come to find out, everybody was having that same problem. So being open, having communication is really, really important. And then the buy-in, which I kind of touched on that. How many of you have been part of the change in your center with the technology, or had any input or conversation? Okay. How do you feel when you have that input to do that? Were you voluntold, or did you actually want to help do it?
Both. I mean, I wanted to be involved, but it wasn't like I didn't volunteer, but once it was assigned, I was happy to be involved.
Okay, all right.
Sort of building our time.
Okay, all right. And how about you?
Sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking.
Okay.
It's like have you used the
Yeah, it is nerve-wracking, because your people are looking at you like, why didn't you fix that? Why didn't you make it not do that? Why isn't it working the way I need to do it? You are part of that. You know what we do. Why can't you just make it all better? It is a lot of responsibility, and I like that term. That's heavy is the head that wears the crown, because it is. You have taken on that responsibility, and it's actually kind of, you need to look at it as a positive thing. If someone's asking you to be part of building something for your center, that's saying they trust you, they have faith in your skills and your abilities to see the need and what needs to happen with that system. So if you're being asked to be part of that, even if it's just a small little part, maybe it's a testing part of it. You know, they say, hey, can you come in and can you run calls through this system? Is it doing what you need to do? Is it recommending the right units? Is the recorder easy to get to? Is the radio sounding the way that you need it to sound? If you're being asked to do that, that means that you're valued in that center, and you're part of something that to make that a better place for that. If you're not being asked to do that, raise your hand and say, hey, I would love to be part of helping you guys with that program. I want to be someone that's been bringing this into our center, and I want to help facilitate that. So it is a little scary, but I will tell you, if I had somebody come and say, I want to help with that, I will be, yes, please come on in, let's work on this together. I've got an amazing team that have done that, and different ones have stepped up and helped with those things, and it's really, really does. Because they're on the floor every day, and they're doing the things that we need to make sure that it does. So technology is a really, really important part of change. Environment. How many are happy with the furniture that they have, or the chairs in their center? Okay, that's great. Yeah. Are those of you that are happy, is it brand new furniture? Yes. Okay. Yeah. And some is fairly new. So, our sit stand's not the most wonderful thing ever for your desks. Yeah, it's nice to be. Oh yeah, I can stand up and still type. This is pretty awesome. It makes a huge difference, and it actually gets you up and moving. How about chairs? Everybody love their chairs? Anybody looking for a new chair? All right. I think every time I get on PS Connect, there's a conversation going about chairs, and it's usually always the same chairs that are recommended, but the conversation keeps on going, because why reinvent the wheel when you can ask the experts that are sitting in the chairs, what do they like? So chairs is a really big deal. We sit in those things for 8, 10, 12 hours, sometimes more. We want our butts to be comfortable. We want to be able to feel our feet at the end of the day when we get up out of the chair, and our back not killing us, and our shoulders screaming because we've been tense and sitting in a chair that's miserable and not made to sit in for that many hours. How many of you have some kind of area that you can prep your meals in? Okay. Do you guys like being able to do that? Do you feel like you can eat healthier being able to do that? Have your meals where you can prep things. You're not sticking a microwave meal in the microwave and nuking it 20 times because you keep getting interrupted when you're trying to eat your meal. Having a meal prep area is nice. I think it really does facilitate and encourages us to be healthier eaters because we have a space where we can prepare food. You don't have to have an oven and all that stuff. A toaster ovens are fantastic. You can do whole meals in toaster ovens and it doesn't feel like it's a microwave meal. You get really good, with the recipes and all those kinds of things. So having that, I've seen centers with the little 2 burners that they cook off of. So you can get really creative if you've got the space to do it. But meal prep is an important thing for your team because it's a space where they can go in, they can step away for a minute, get their meal prepared, and feel like they've got some healthy options. Hopefully everybody has a refrigerator in their center. Hopefully everybody has the very basics. But beyond that, having nice things to be able to give somebody an extra way to make a meal. I brought in a little snow cone machine last summer so we can make snow cones in the center when there's not a lot going on. So that's kind of an extra treat. So things like that are really good. Heat and air, we talked about that a little bit earlier. How many people have, it's always the right temperature in there for them? All right, so there's a couple of you, that's really good. How many of you guys have furniture that has the heat and air built in? It's not that the best thing ever, yes. I see people literally have the air on their face and the heat below, and they're like covered over both because they're hot, but their hands are freezing or their feet are freezing. So if you don't, it's well worth the expense. If your agency can save up, it's so worth being able to put that money into that investment. It makes a huge difference. If I can literally feel my hands to type, that's a good day. If I can't feel my hands to type, things are going to be really bad when I'm trying to put a call for service in. Or I'm going to just be miserable because I have to unfurl from my blanket to type and then put my blanket back around me. So heat and air is really important. So listening to everybody in your center when they've got concerns and issues, and find ways to work around that. We can't all plug space heaters in. We found that out the hard way when we pulled our old furniture out. We found 10 boxes that have burn spots where people tried to plug their floor heaters in and burn the fuse out. So found out we can't do that. So that's you can't throw a space heater and make everybody happy. But there is other alternatives. So making sure that those kinds of things. And then the last is the building. How your building is set up, how your room is set up is really, really important. How many of you are in a standalone from any other agency where you can do your own? Okay, nobody else is in your building, you can set it up the way that you want. Okay, how many are you a part of a police department, fire department where you're kind of stuck where you are? Okay, all right, so we have to kind of make the best with what we have, right? There's not always a lot of wiggle room for how we can set things up, but bless you. Bless you, goodness. But we can still do some things. We can look at the way the floor is set up. We can look at the environment in there. Can we change the lighting? Can we change the carpet? Can we change the decor? Can we put some things on the wall that are inspiring and encouraging? There's a lot that you can do even with your own little space if you take some time and put some effort into it. And again, reaching out to your team. What would they like to see when they come in? What would make them feel at home? Because again, we're spending more time there than most of us are than we are at home, or at least a good chunk of it. So we want to have an environment that feels like home away from home. I don't mean that you just have your dirty clothes laying on the floor over there because that's what you do at home. But you come in and you've got this is my space for 12 hours, and it's a pretty good space, and I'm pretty happy with it, and I've got things where I need them to be. I can bring all my little doodads and I can set them out around me so I feel comfortable, and I can put them all back in my locker at the end of the day and then go on until my next shift. We can put some things up on the wall, some encouraging statements, some things about our center. I love what Springfield Greene County did with the hallway with the pictures of your team. That is so cool. I'm like, I taught her PST1. She's still here. That's awesome. So, it's getting to see those familiar faces when you walk through. Or seeing, Dade County has really cool things on the wall, and they have things that are inspiring for their team. Does anybody else have anything they put up on their walls or any decor that they think really helps with the atmosphere in their center?
We just remodeled.
Okay.
They were great when they first considered where they were going to put us in the police department. They actually gave us an amazing space with a balcony and everything.
Oh,
so we could
wow.
walk outside.
Yeah.
But when we remodeled, they allowed us to choose the colors of our wall, and we got to put up like City dispatch on the wall, and like
Nice.
decorations that were ours and sayings that were to us.
Yeah.
So it's all catered to us now, and everyone, like the whole building likes to come up to our space.
That's
So
awesome.
we also got a full kitchen.
Nice. Yeah, so when you do a remodel, put a lot of thought into that, because that's a significant change. We don't really realize how the environment around us impacts us during the call. My team loves it to be dark, so we don't have any lights on except for the little lights on the desks, and they love it. If anybody turns a light on, they turn into like, their eyes start, glazing over, and they start freaking out a little bit because it's so bright in here. They love the dark, so, if that's what makes them happy, I'm okay with that. It's a little harder for me to see, but I just make adjustments because the majority of them like it dark in there. It's comforting to them. It eases their eye strain on the screens, and they're happy with that. I love a bright open room, but that's one person against everybody else that I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say I want the lights on because I just want the lights on. So listen to your team. Think about what makes them comfortable. And if you guys are part of that team, speak up. Hopefully your bosses are listening and they're recognizing what your needs are as well. So don't hesitate to say something and tell them I said that was okay. So, think of how they don't like it. Yes, damn it. All right, so staffing. I know everybody always asks this question, but how many of you are fully staffed? Anybody? How many of you have significant shortages in your center? Where you're at least, I don't know, maybe a quarter down, an eighth down, whatever. Okay, so when we're looking at shortages, we want to be very strategic. We want to be very careful with who we're bringing into the center, right? Because if you start just hiring anybody that shows in the door that has a pulse, knows their name, and can kind of sort of pass a little bit of the test, well, yeah, we'll fix that. We'll teach them how to do that. What does that do to the rest of your center, of the people that are there? How many of you are trainers in here? How many of you are exhausted from training all the time? Always training somebody. It's a lot. I know we need good quality people, and we really rely on our trainers, but we don't want to send them just Joe Smo off the road because this is who we've got, and I want you to make him a really good dispatcher, even though he's literally has no skills at all, or she. But I know you're a really good trainer, so I know you can do it. That's doing a disservice to your trainers. You've got, part of that change is listening to your trainers. When they're telling you they're tired, when they're telling you they're frustrated, when they're telling you that the people that you're bringing to them to try to make them into dispatchers is just not cutting it. There's only so much a trainer can do, and they have to be given someone that at least has a chance to make it, that has some skill level, that wants to be there. This is not just a placeholder because they don't know what they want to do when they grow up. There are a few of those, and if they've got the skills, that's okay, because maybe this is exactly what they want to do. I've been really, really blessed to hire a couple that was that. They really didn't know what they wanted to do, but they wanted to try it, and now they're amazing. They're trainers. One's a supervisor. He just rocketed through the center, and it's, because they have the skills and they had good trainers, and they knew this is what they wanted to do when they got into it. But we have to remember, for the sake of the people training, that we want to be careful with who we're bringing in. So looking at changes in how you hire, changes in how you test are all really important. And then we have to support that change. So understanding, if you see changes happening in the hiring system and you're wondering why are they doing it that way, don't hesitate to ask somebody, because usually, I like to say for the most part, we know why we're doing what we're doing. Sometimes we're just winging it, and we're on the fly figuring out, will this work this time? Is this going to work next time? I've not found necessarily a rhyme or reason for how some things work in the hiring process. But if you're really curious about what's going on with that and why that's being done that way, ask somebody, ask a supervisor, ask somebody that's in part of the hiring process why that's being done that way. Because you may have some insight into that, like, when I was hired, if this would have happened, or if I'd been asked this, or this had been checked, I think that would have made a difference. especially if you're fairly new to being in this profession and fairly new to being hired, and you're seeing some things as part of your process that could have made a difference for future applicants, don't hesitate to say something. Or you think of a pool of people that we should be reaching out to that maybe we're not thinking about. When you think about other professions, what do you think about that would be good for dispatching? Okay, convenience stores, they've got a lot going on, right? They're multitasking, they're customer service, they're doing a lot of different things, paying attention to a lot of different parts of what's going on in there. What else?
Waitresses.
Waitresses, yes. Huh? Yes, they're amazing, you know, and that memory, oh my gosh. The ones that could, you sure you don't want to write down my order? Nope, I got it, and they come back and it's perfect. Like, are you looking for another job? Because we've got an opening at dispatch, and I think you would be really, really good at that. How many of you carry recruitment cards around with you? Okay. If you don't, or your agency doesn't do that, I would highly suggest it. It's just a quick business card, has a QR code with your application on there, tells them just very briefly what the benefits are, and you say, hey, you know what? Really think about this. What I've seen you do today, I think you would really be good for our profession. And here's a card. Scan the QR code, reach out to me, here's my name and number, come sit in the center, see what it's all about, because people really don't know what we do, right? How many of you knew what we really did before you started here? Yeah, I was clueless, like, oh wow, this is really, really cool. But I had no idea about it until I got into it. So generally, 90% of the population or more out there has no idea what we do, and doesn't even know it's a profession. So part of the changes into your center is doing that recruiting and always looking for that next applicant. Even if you're fully staffed, you know, tomorrow, or you may walk back in when you get out of here tonight and, you know, Jane Smith's like, oh, I'm out of here, got a better job, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do something else, and then now you're down a person again. So it doesn't hurt to have some people in your back pocket, just in case it comes to that. And then supporting that change from every level of your center. So as you're making changes in the hiring process, testing process, training process, make sure that you're supporting that change. If you really truly see an issue in that, you know, feel free to say something. I don't think there's many people and many managers, directors, supervisors that aren't open to hearing and having a conversation and listening to what you have to say, because you're in the room with the person that's either, you know, you're either seeing what they're doing, not seeing what's happening, seeing holes in training or whatever, and staffing and hiring and what we're looking for. Traditional, what are some positions you have in your center right now? Just shout them out. Everything, anything. Okay, telecommunicator, what else? Supervisor, okay.
Training officer.
Okay, training officers, what else? Think about your whole center. QA, okay. What else? Huh? Okay, training coordinator.
We have what we call lead telecommunicator. They're primarily trainers, and then step up supervisors.
Okay.
Supervisor.
All right, is that a fairly new position?
Yeah, year and a half.
Okay, so that's some of that change that I'm talking about, is making those new steps, filling in those gaps of where you may need another position, another set of eyes, another set of responsibilities. How did you guys come up with that, JR?
We needed a step in the ladder. We needed people that were interested in being supervisors. We wanted to get them a start. Mm-hmm. And then we also wanted to reward the people that were doing most of our training every hour they work, not just a little pittance 50 cents training stipend. So it's an 11% pay raise over standard telecommunicator.
Nice. So that's the kind of changes that we need to see. We need to see to recognize where there's gaps in your center, where there's opportunities to create some steps and some increases and some promotional opportunities. Some of us are very small agencies and we don't have a lot of opportunities to do that, but we do need to be thinking about where we can do that. You know, can you create something in between something that shows them, we value you, we want to continue working with you, we see potential in you, you know, and a lot of times they may not see it in themselves. They may think, I'm perfectly happy doing this. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with being a telecommunicator your entire career. There's days I wish that I could go back and that was all I had to worry about. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people would like to come in, do an amazing job as a dispatcher, and then go home at the end of the day without those additional responsibilities. Then there's others that really want to do it, but they're not really sure where to start. So part of that change is building that empowerment in them, that opportunity to take some more responsibility and do some other things. So if you have a fairly short career ladder in your center, no matter what your role is in the center, think, how can I create something that gives me an opportunity for more in my center if I really want to have that more? And then, draft something, reach out to some other agencies. You've got a really good networking group in here. I see easily at least 10 different centers in here, if not more. I know some of you, I don't know where you're from, but do we have any idea how many agencies are represented here? You usually count that number. By the end of the day, you'll have it. So, yeah. But that's, reach out during the breaks to each other. Like, what do you do at your center? What's your career ladder? I'm not saying recruit from each other, but I'm saying, I did not say that. So if anybody walks out from their center, it was not anything that I said. But think about, reach out like, hey, what is, Springfield, Greene County's got some amazing stuff going on. Who else is making some changes in their career ladders? Anybody else? I know Lori did after I left. She opened up some really good possibilities.
It's never been the same.
Well, I like to think that, but you created some amazing opportunities for the people that were there, and they've taken it and they've run with it. And that's really, really cool. So sometimes when someone leaves, a whole new opportunity opens up, especially with someone that's been there for a while. We can kind of shake things up, change what they were doing, branch it out, expand it out, and give some other people some chances to do some really great things. You've got some amazing hidden talent in your center that you probably don't even know about. That's just waiting to shine and just waiting for that moment to say, here I am, do what you're going to do with me, but I'm here for the long haul. And it doesn't mean they have to have been there 10 years or 20 years. They could have been there a year or two, but they just naturally are taken to this profession and they want to be part of that change. So just think about that and reach out to each other during the breaks. Some of the specialized positions, who's supports for your center? Who do you have that supports the mission of your agency? From the backside, I guess you want to say. Who works on your radios? Who works on your IT? Do you have people in your center, or is it people that you, other vendors that you outsource that technology to? Okay, so you outsource it now. Is it something that there's enough of it that you can create a position in your center to take care of that? That might be something to look at.
We're a little bit unique situation. Our radio system is actually owned and operated by the local public utility. And we're part of most ones, but our basic radio system is utility and they take care of it. We do have two systems administrators for IT, and we have one GIS person.
Yeah. So some of yours may come from, if you're within a city or a county agency, that may be another department that takes care of that. If you're a standalone, you may outsource that to a company that does it. But if there is an opportunity and there's sufficient work there, or even something maybe someone that's already there is really, really good at, they could take that responsibility. Maybe it's a bump up where they're part-time GIS and part-time telecommunicator if you've got the resources to be able to do that. So think of those other positions that you're looking at. And a really, really good time to think about that is in the hiring process. When you have someone that's come in and applied, look at what their former history is. What have they done before they came to be a dispatcher? Did they do something that could support a mission of your agency on the IT side, on the radio side? Any of that stuff where they're bringing those skills and those talents in there that can somehow translate into a position within your center, that you can start building into that and maybe groom them to take over that part of that. I know a lot of those responsibilities sometimes falls on the head of the manager or director, where they're the IT person, they're the GIS person. They're doing all of it, and they're really, really tired. They really have a whole lot of other things they need to be doing, but they're also taking care of these other things. So maybe looking at opportunities and changes to be able to do that. But whatever you do, think outside the box. We can't keep doing it the same way we've always done it. We have to be thinking down the road, what do we need to do to keep the center moving forward? Okay, well, I kind of already touched on that. But yeah, that's some of the applicants. So the hiring pool has changed. How many come in with, they've had 8 jobs in 5 years? Do you immediately discount them because they've had 8 jobs in 5 years? Or are they trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up, and this is another stepping stone in that journey? Do we immediately say, no way, because I need you at least a year before you can start doing anything here? Or do you say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on you because maybe this is what you're looking for? And yeah, I may sink some time and money and effort into you, but maybe you're somebody that will be a rock star here. We can't look at the job history anymore the way that we did. They're not us. They're not those of us that grew up thinking you have to be there till you die. I get a job and I do not leave it. It's okay, it's wonderful if I like it, but even if I don't like it, it's a steady paycheck, great benefits, I can support my family, and by God, you're stuck with me until they wheel me out, in a body bag probably, I don't know. Or out in my chair, like put her out by the dumpster, they'll get rid of her later. A lot of us have that mindset, but we have to get out of that mindset because that's not the people that we're seeing apply now. They want a work-life balance. They want time with their family, but they also want to make a difference in their community. But they don't know how they want to do that. So they want to come and check us out and see, is this what's going to satisfy that need? Maybe they only give us 5 years, but in that 5 years they can do some amazing things and they can bring up the next group of people that we're going to hire. We're not going to have the longevity as much as we do now. We're just not going to have it. There's just too many other things out there that people want to do, and that there's so many different ways they're being pulled. But if we can get our hooks in them early on and show them just how amazing this profession is, they may give us more time than they planned on, and they may end up being your next manager or director, or IT specialist or radio technician. We just, sometimes taking a chance on somebody pays out really, really well, but we have to be open to doing that. We can't just shut them down immediately because they haven't, been there a year at a time at the job that they're at. How many of us really knew what we wanted to do when we started? We just, most of us say we fell into this profession, right? We weren't actively looking for it, but we found out how awesome it is and we stayed. So maybe we can do that for somebody else too. Change can be good when it's done the right way. So we've talked about some of those areas on here, but we have to be strategic. We have to be intentional in how we make those changes. So the change starts at the top. For those of you that identified, so weird. If you identify as a manager or director or a supervisor, you're setting the tone in your center. There's nothing worse than walking into a room and hearing a supervisor just totally trashing something. And you're thinking, you're supposed to be the one helping me get this implemented, this started, our buy-in to our team, and you're in here tearing it down worse than anybody else has. And of course, they're going to listen to you because you're the supervisor and they think that you know more than they do. Or you have we have a lot of officers come in, we'll have a street sergeant come in and start complaining about the cat. I'm like, would you stop? First off, your side's completely different from our side, and yes, we know we're having a hard time with it. But you coming in and just totally trashing it is not helping keep the positivity that I need in our center to move forward. It's been hard, and I will be the first to acknowledge it's been really rough, but we're getting through it. We're contrary to popular belief, we're not going back to our old system. We're not going to go to Motorola because we can't afford Motorola. This is what we're going to do. This is it. We're not changing. We got to figure it out. So being at the leadership level, and even with each other, if you're frontline and you're complaining about it out loud to everybody else, if it's legitimate concern and it's something that you're really frustrated with, by all means, say something and see if anyone else is having the same issue. But if it's just a bitch session, to be a bitch session because you're just mad and you don't like it, or something else has made you mad, but CAD's an easy target, or your phone system's an easy target. It's not doing anybody any good, and it's not helping to facilitate the change and what we need to do to make that better. So when you're thinking about and talking about it, be intentional in your words and your meaning and how you approach it. I don't want to say that you can't say what you need to say in there. What happens in dispatch stays in dispatch, right? We like to think. Doesn't always. So we have to be careful, and we have to make sure what we're saying is being something that's helping the situation. And if nothing else, ask. If you've got questions, ask somebody. If something's frustrating you, don't just assume you're the only one that's having that issue with it. Part of the change is speaking up and saying, this is not working for me and I need help, and then finding out 5 other people it's not working for them either. But no one wanted to say anything. Okay, so at the end of the day, we know this profession is changing, right? every day I probably get half a dozen or more emails from different technologies, different programs, different vendors that have these amazing products out there. And we want to look at every single one of them because it may be the one that we really, really need to be able to serve our citizens and our responders. But we have a lot coming at us. So we have to be open to listening to those, to investigating them. You know, we've got an amazing business back here that's supporting our training and our meeting and lunch today. They're giving us their time because they've got something that they want to share with us, and that's a good thing. Every one of us has our needs. We're all varied size of agencies. We've got, I think Springfield's probably the largest one here, and then we've got very small down to Dade County. You know, one, 2 seats everywhere to, you know, how many seats does Springfield have, Heather? How many seats do we have in Springfield?
21.
21. Okay, so we've got a wide range of expectations and responsibilities and numbers. So we need to make sure that we're doing that to get the best numbers that we need and the best technologies and the best of everything that we need to have in there. So meeting that expectation, again, is part of the responsibility of your management, but it's also the responsibility of everybody in the center. If you see a need and you want to be able to introduce something, have you seen anything out there that you think would be really cool for your center, but you hesitate to mention it because you don't know if anybody else would be interested? Anybody have anything out there they think would be really cool that they haven't? Yes?
A dog.
A dog, okay.
Support animal. Support animal.
Yeah, support animal.
I'll tell you, I would buy you a venomous duck. Motor wagon.
Talk to me about the ice storm in 2007 and all the dogs we had in the center while we were housed there for a week. That might be part of what the issue is. So support animals. For some of us that really works. For some of us it may not. You know, we can't because we have canines that come through our center, so that might not work out so well. But we can have them visit, right? They don't have to be there all the time. But, you know, support animals, programs. I remember when Rapid SOS was introduced, you know, everybody was a little bit hesitant. This is like too good to be true. But once we got it, it's like, oh, and it doesn't cost us anything? This is amazing. Bring this in. We need this program. But we have to be open to the change. And for some of us, if we don't know a lot about it, it's really hard to say, go ahead and bring this in to me, but I don't know what it's going to do, and I'm kind of scared that my team's going to freak out because it's one more thing that they have to learn. And that is hard because there is a lot to learn when you bring something new in. And I think that's part of questioning change is, you know, I just literally got done learning this and now you want me to learn this. I'm still trying to figure this other thing out. Sometimes the change is because we have to. We don't have any choice. But how we do it can be really important. And if we're doing it in a way that facilitates everybody else to be comfortable with it the best that they can be, then that's what we need to do. So anybody got done a little bit early? Anybody got any questions? Any comments? Okay, I will give you an extra 5 minutes back.